Saturday morning, and these are the days you kill for in Michigan. It's February something, middle of February, and we're gonna be at 64 degrees today. So once again, taking a chance to jump on some stuff. Foam board is gonna go down on the floor today, and hopefully some plywood as well. We got our subfloor going in, tongue and groove for both of them, and we're doing it without any screws and just with adhesive, because if I cut it tight and don't screw it, I don't have to pierce the belly of the bus, and I will avoid something called thermal bridging. Whoa!
What?
What's up? So this is what we're using for our insulation on the floor. It's 1 inch thick. The polystyrene, I think. No, maybe that's not it. I don't remember its exact official title, but good because it works well. XPS insulation, that's what it is. But good because it's moisture resistant, and the reality is, you know, the possibility of still having even just condensation coming up through a floor, the foam board makes a crap ton of sense. So that's what's going to go down underneath. And we got a little bit more to go. Boy, this is special.
Hi, what are you looking at?
I have a new helper today. Scraping reflective tape. How's it going?
Good.
Do you have any techniques that you would tell the folks at home?
Gotta do it slowly so it peels off in one piece.
Truth in lending. So getting this piece put in, this is the back of the door, obviously, and the base here. When I get the foam and the plywood, the subfloor in, obviously is going to be a little bit higher than what's currently here, and so to keep that from being visible from the front, kind of waterproof that edge a little bit. I got a little PVC board. We've got our first piece of styrofoam that's going to go in here in just a sec, so we're getting pretty darn close. This prep has taken a while just to get this first piece on. Some of us. Okay, we're about to put down the first piece of foam board. We got it cut to fit. We got our adhesive under there, and this is a we can't screw it up sort of thing. You ready, sister?
Yep.
All right, we have our first piece of foam board down, and then I put in this little piece here, like I said, to protect it from the outside. Threw a little seam sealer in there. Hopefully that won't react to the styrofoam. It shouldn't. The stuff that I got, I guess, doesn't have the normal issues, so that's good. And then this is that outside lip. Again, that'll just protect the edge of the floor from the elements. So that's what we've done so far. So when I ripped out the first floor, the original floor, which was of course completely gross, I had a light bulb moment to hold on to a couple of the pieces that had the original curves set up. So those are the old pieces for around the wheel wells, and a couple other just funky angled pieces. That's going to go up around the engine. This is actually the step pan to the wheel well, so like the door was right there for that piece. So I held on to some of those because obviously I'm going to need to piece them back in. That would be a small piece of advice I would give anybody doing this project, and that is if you can at all salvage them. Some of those old pieces with the curves are probably not a bad idea. So we're making some good headway. We've got 2 boards down so far. The first one took me quite a bit of time. Small little tool side note, I am not being paid by Craig to do this commercial, but this thing is the sweetest tool ever for cutting the ends of boards and for ripping. Basically it just allows you a little fence to run along, and you can set your length all the way down to 2 feet to rip off the end of a board, man, and it turns your saw into a pretty straight cut, so you don't have to really worry about snapping lines or anything. You can just set how much you want to cut off, which for me, cutting off the end of every board about 4.5 inches, and man, you just put that fence right against the edge of your board and go for it. It is awesome. If I could cut and show you how it works, I would, but I don't have 3 hands.
Leaves, it's sticky.
I know. Go for it, bud. Things are going pretty well. We've got probably about 3/4 of the floor done. There's Will's. What?
This thing has full gas. It goes pretty fast.
Cool. He's on the 4-wheeler right now. Yeah, things are going great. A couple of things I've learned along the way here. This has been super helpful to have just some shims ready to cram underneath the chair rail, because just to create a little bit of downward force and obviously keep things tight. Those won't stay. Eventually I'll cut to fit some 2x4s that'll help frame the wall in, but I've done that in a couple other spots back there as well. The back actually laid down a lot better. These middle pieces have wanted to pop up quite a bit. So that's been a bit of a challenge. We're using tongue and groove plywood, and in some spots the tongue and the groove have not been super awesome. Little spots like in here, trying to line that stuff up. That's been a little tricky, but that's all part of the deal, I guess. I think outside of that, yeah, things have been going pretty much I expected them to. Oh, one other thing that was a little tricky was obviously the chair rail is a pretty darn important thing, but to cut your pieces to fit, which I wanted to get them as tight to the wall as I could, getting them past the chair rail was a little bit of a trick. And so I would kind of get the one end down flat against the floor, bring the other part right up against the chair rail, and then with a flat bar, kind of get in behind it, have somebody stand on it and on the plywood and just pop it. And we got a couple broken corners in some spots from doing that, but all in all, I would rather have that and have my plywood super tight versus having to cut them too short, because I'm not using any screws. It's all adhesive, and yeah, glue the foam board right to the floor with adhesive, and then the tongue and groove right over the top of that. And if you do it nice and tight, and then obviously once you get these types of pieces in here, and eventually walls that will go from the top of the frame to the bottom, the floor is not going to go anywhere. But I went back and forth on what to do for my floor, read a lot of stuff, talked to a lot of people, and finally came to the conclusion that if I was going to avoid any thermal bridging, I was going to not screw anything through the belly of the bus. So that is what I'm still shooting towards. So that's where we are. It's been a couple days on the floor. We ought to get close to getting it wrapped up here pretty soon. Summah boss. Bye.